I'm Christy Hartman. Welcome back to my channel. Have you ever pulled a print and the best part of the print stays on the plate? I'm diving into the world of grunge, where leftover paint isn't a mistake, it's a masterpiece. Learn how to develop rich texture and visual depth using the paint residue that stays behind on the plate. Whether you're a beginner or a gel print pro, this tutorial will help you embrace the imperfectly perfect art of grunge. So next time, paint won't let go, don't fight it, go with it. Let's get started. We can have both intentional and unintentional grunge that develops on our gel plate. In this segment, we will explore the intentional grunge techniques, where we build the grunge from the plate up, building various grungy layers. We're going to use three paint colors: turquoise phthalo, iridescent gold fine, and manganese blue in the fluid line, and Carrie Griffith's Tribal Wallpaper Style 3 from PM Artist Studio. In this first layer, we will use the 2-inch brayer to randomly apply the paint to our stencil, moving the brayer randomly over the top of our stencil and around the stencil, overlapping our paint colors. We won't worry about the fact that these paint colors are going to mix. In fact, I would encourage you to mix those paint colors. Now, I did just use a brayer off sheet to clean my brayer slightly. And that's mostly just to remove some of the paint, because I want this to be a fairly thin layer that we're applying over the top of this stencil. This stencil has a tremendous amount of detail, and I found that by moving too quickly or with too much paint, you would get a blotchy appearance. So I'm trying not to do that, although you will see I do get some blotchiness, which just adds to the grunge and makes it that much more interesting. Now, the gold and my turquoise phthalo would blend together to make a beautiful, beautiful shimmering effect, and I think it was tremendously effective. Just continuing to mix those three paint colors using that 2-inch brayer, which works well with this stencil. Once we've blended all of these paint colors together, we will remove our stencil and allow this layer to dry. For this next layer, we're going to use two paint colors from Lucas Krill, and this is the beige and the fern. And these two paint colors tend to be a little bit more on the opaque side. So for this layer, this is going to create an interesting amount of grunge. So we're going to use this other 5x7 as a palette. And let's start with this Lucas Krill. And I want something that has a little bit more of a chalky appearance. And this is a little bit more of an opaque paint. And I'm just going to touch my brayer. I just want bits of it here and there. Okay, let's look at that and see what I think. Yeah, I think that'll do some grunge. Let's add this fern. And I'm just going to mix it right in with this. Let's grab another plate here. I want to remove some of that. So let's just remove some of that. All right, let's look at that. Yeah, I think that will do. I think I want to add a little transparent red iron oxide to this. It's definitely developing the grunge that I was hoping for. And we're going to use that same 5x7-inch plate. I'm just going to put out just a little bit, not much. And I went over the top of it with my stencil just to kind of develop a pattern. And I've just brayered it out over the top of that pattern. So on the back side of that, that's the way it's going to look. And then we're just going to just randomly place a little bit more orange on this. Let's see if I can get a little bit more on here. Oh yeah, I love that. Look at that. That's fabulous. Grungy layers, you can't beat them. And then this one looks like that, which I have an idea for this one. We're going to pull this one with Naples yellow. Okay, oh yeah, look at that. This one we're going to pull with this indigo. Let's print it onto this old piece of newsprint. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? That went brown, just like it should have. You know that paper is not going to work well at all. It's going to fall apart. So we're going to take some of that off of there and let this dry. And we're going to let this dry and do something different with it. That left some pretty interesting grunge. Let's use Quin Nickel Azo Gold and see if we can pull up the rest of this. You know, this time we're going to use book paper, which will work just fine. Ooh, that's going to be fabulous. Okay, let's let that be. That's fabulous. I have this little piece gold that didn't pull up, and it just looks like that. I think we'll use it. I think we'll do something with it. So let's lay this down over the top of it. Let's try Payne's Gray. And let's scoot this over just a hair so you can actually see what I'm doing. Let's put it out on this palette because I don't want this very thick. Ooh, and that actually pulled off some of the gold, so it made it even grungier. That is going to be super cool. Alright, let's let that dry. This one, let's take this, put it down right over the top of this, roll over the top of it with our brayer, pull this off, and that should make some really fantastic grunge. Yeah, let's let that dry. I'll be back. Let's put a little bit more grunge on this one. And I thought we'd use this PBO 356 Violet Blue. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, it's going to be lovely. Let's pull this one with 357 PBO. That's going to be cool. Let's see how they're going to pull. These are the prints that we've completed today. This was the first one where we developed intentional grunge using short strokes with our brayer onto this stencil. I think this is really lovely. You might see this print in an upcoming video. This one was a very happy accident where I used the very old newsprint to pull this off. Didn't remove all the paint, and it left a little bit of the paper on the plate, which then when I pulled off left this very, very interesting print. I love both of these. I would use both of these, I think. And this is unintentional grunge. I certainly didn't intend for this to happen. This one, I had another unintentional grunge. I had some of this gold on my plate. I went over the top of it with my stencil and then pulled it with the Naples yellow. This one might show up in an upcoming video as well. This is another one that I think turned out really, really well. This one was more of an intentional grunge because I pulled the pattern off of what was left on the plate. I had used it as a palette and then added the pink and then pulled it with turquoise. But the iridescent, I think it's really gorgeous. Interestingly enough, grunge is defined as grime or dirt. Well, we aren't developing dirt, that's for sure. But we are leaving a little paint grime on our plate, both as intentional and unintentional grunge. You saw me use this one stencil today with a variety of paint types and colors. Watch for part 2, where we will further experiment and explore grungy layers. If you enjoyed getting messy with me today, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what's your favorite way to create texture on the gel plate. Let me know how you are embracing grunge. Until next time, keep printing, keep experimenting, and remember to have fun. So I'll see you in my next video.